Welcome to the Age Well Home and Lifestyle podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Bradley. I'm the founder of Age Well Home and Lifestyle. This podcast is rooted in one essential truth. To age well and thrive, we must be radically curious. Curious about who we really are, about what truly matters. Curious enough to question everything we've been told so we can finally design a life and home that reflects our truest selves. Here we treat life as our masterpiece. We see ourselves as detectives gathering clues, uncovering our deepest gifts, and consciously curating a lifestyle and home that is both healing and fulfilling. Join me for solo episodes and conversations with guests where I help us get closer to the root of living our best lives in mid-age and beyond. Lupine DeSnyder is a nonprofit professional with over 30 years of experience in volunteer program management, community engagement, fundraising, and senior services in private, nonprofit, and government settings. She is a certified volunteer administrator. She is trained and served as a neighborhood mediator with PCC East Metro Mediation. She has a BA in political science from University of Utah and has an executive certificate in home modifications from the University of Southern California School of Gerontology. Her recent work with Community for Positive Aging Hollywood Senior Center as an options counselor for seniors and their families, an area manager working with clients at HomeShare Oregon, and now ReFit, reflect her investment in supporting all members of our community in living with choice, health, and dignity. We have Lupine here, the Director of ReFit. So tell me a little bit about your background, how you started at ReFit, what you did before that.
Sure. It's nice to be here. And I am working with an organization called ReFit, which is a nonprofit here in the Portland metro area who serves basically hoping to help folks age in place and stay in their homes. We provide no cost home modifications to folks living with disabilities. And the way that I kind of came to this organization is through a lot of other work with seniors, with people with disabilities, and not only personally, but professionally. I've had all kinds of experiences where I run into the same issues or the same barriers, like whether it was with my aging mom, who really was pretty tech savvy and could look up a lot of resources and still couldn't really find what she needed to age in place. And then my career kept taking me into these spaces where either I was working on the side with some seniors or on the side with some folks with disabilities, whether it was through parks or a community center. And I just kept running into the same thing, which is that without safe, secure access and comfort in your home, it's really hard to find any other resources. It's really hard to think about all your other needs if you don't have that baseline of home. And so I never thought I'd work in housing, and I kept ending up there. And so I really feel like it is the core of kind of handling all sorts of different access issues and equity issues, and just making our systems run better if folks are feeling safe and secure and able to stay in their home. So that's what brought me to it. But it kind of was a lot of roundabout ways through other nonprofits and government work and private organizations, and it really just has it really resonates with me to kind of be as much of the link maker or the gap filler with that organization as I can. So and ReFit's just a really sweet little piece of that, but I found that it's such a direct service organization that we really are able to talk to people one-on-one in their homes and just kind of get an overall idea of how we can potentially help.
And tell the story of how it started, because it's been around since 1997?
Has, it's, I think we're at 27 years or so, and I like a lot of little nonprofits that out of passion of a few folks, a community. It's really a community-based organization, like to this day, but was founded through a small community of folks that had a fellow friend. His family went through a traumatic event with their son, who was in an automobile accident driving back to college and was left in a wheelchair. And in order for that whole thing to shift and work, this community, which happened to be a community of contractors, as this dad, Bill Marked, was a contractor, and his friends and family and connections kind of stepped up and just said, wow, we have these skills, what can we do? And they helped remodel the home so that when the son, when Jess returned from the hospital, he would be able to navigate his house. And then they also took it a step further, and they actually went down to the University of Oregon, which was where he was attending, and they actually worked in his fraternity house to do some modifications so that when he was ready, he could go back, and he did, and successfully finished school for sure. And that, I think, planted that seed in all of them, that it does when you have that feeling of like, wow, we have these skills that could be put to use for our community good. And they officially formed ReFit after that, and it's been going ever since, and it's really grown a lot in the past couple of years as the need continues to grow. ReFit's sort of stepping pace with that. So yeah, it's a wonderful foundation, and we are lucky to be working with and in touch with a lot of the original founders. So it still contains part of those folks as well.
I love that story. And so often these organizations are a result of some type of life adversity or experience that you don't know about until you're thrown into it. And
Core of our community-based things, which is like, well, there's something that moved me. I do have the ability to start something larger than myself to help, and it's a very cool process, and it's not easy for sometimes, but it's committed people, and they make it happen. So yeah, it's a fun thing to be a part of for sure.
and specifically with refit and the aging in place work, let's go through the idea. We're making these homes so that they're safe in the homes. And if they're not safe and they can't do their basics of their daily activities of living, their basics, they can't do other things. So go through a few of the things that refit offers. So whether it's ramps, grab bars, a few of those things that are impediments if you don't have, and how easy refit can step in and help people.
Absolutely. Like it is amazing. And even having worked in this field for a while, upon coming to ReFit and seeing some of the clients and the homes that we were serving, I think it still struck me that a 6-inch threshold to your front door could prevent somebody from entering and exiting their home for years. Like we have clients that haven't left for a very long time. And so I think that is something people really don't even think about unless you've had some sort of either short-term disability or a family member. And that's it. We work with folks of all ages, but of course, our population that we're serving, I would say now is probably about 85%, 90% seniors. And with that population really needing to age in place, it really is the bulk of who we're serving. And it can be anything from really the initial, I always call it my entry, my gateway accessibility item are grab bars. So ReFit is able to go in and help the individual look at their home, decide the areas that feel like there may be some access or barrier problems. Sometimes it's very obvious. They can't get in their front door. It's necessary to have a ramp due to using a mobility device or a wheelchair or just physical limitations. But it can also be grab bars in the home, which are really common and also really helpful to almost everybody. And it can be personalized things like certain areas of the home that maybe need an extra railing or need something widened, or a bathroom modification that really helps them feel more comfortable, whether that's a bathtub to shower conversion or a reconfiguration or adjustment of the toilet or the cabinet, sink. It really is personal, and that's partly what we talk about too, is those people think ADA and they think, hospitals and public places, and what that doesn't apply. If it's your home, we're really able to do what you need. And of course, we work with professional contractors and remodelers, so they're definitely doing things safely and making sure it is done well. But the important part is we're not going to install grab bars according to ADA regulations. We're going to install them where you need them and how it best works in your home. So the services we can provide is that personalized kind of assessment of, well, this could work. And sometimes I'm going to somebody's home and they're asking for a grab bar, and then I see they may have some issues with entry and exit, or they may have some other things that could be helpful, but they don't want to ask because it is hard for a lot of people to take that step and to really, not only ask for help, but to even comprehend where they're at with their mobility in their home. But it is safer for them to stay there. And that's the thing that, really is proven through multiple areas. It's not only safer physically because they know the space and they know how to get around. So if they just need a few things to help that accessibility be better, that's great. And then it's also safer and healthier for them emotionally, community wise, like the whole thing. So really the idea of supporting folks who want to stay in their homes as long as they can is just, that's our core mission. So
Yep. And I feel like it just resets them. And if you can share one specific story or two, I think of just that reset, even for the nervous system. You're refitting to reset them in their lives. If they can safely maneuver their house, their nervous system calms, and then they can enjoy life more. But share one or two stories specifically of clients.
yeah, there's so many. Like all of them are so interesting because everyone has their own individual situation, and I feel very lucky to kind of learn all those perspectives. But it is, I think a common one is we had a veteran named Don who he served in 3 branches of the military. He's owned his house for 50 years. He's literally built all the things attached to it. He's done all his own work on the home and the yard for years, but he's now 82 and lives alone and has these very difficult 3 cement stairs up to his front door, which is super common in old Portland homes, and no railings, not very wide stairs, and he's using a cane and sometimes a walker once he gets out of the house. And of course he did what he could. He installed a handle on the house, side of the house, and really went to all the things that he could think of to kind of help him feel more stable, but then did hear about ReFit and contacted us. And the idea that he could now have a ramp coming from his front porch not only meant that the safety of him coming out of his home and bringing in groceries or holding the door open while he's balancing something, it also means that he has a place to hang out outside because there's now space outside of his door. And it also means his senior neighbors could actually come over and come into his home, which he hadn't even really realized was this limit, because they weren't going to say anything. And so now his sister, also who likes to sit outside, and his other 2 neighbors that he's had visit, they actually have a way into his home now, and the visitation has changed too. So not only did it help him feel more secure getting to and from his yard and his driveway, but it also brings people to him and makes it a lot more accessible. And he's one of those folks that was very difficult for him to ask for help. He's done everything himself his whole life, and he was thrilled because the community partner that worked with us to do that was a group called Portland Youth Builders, and it's folks 18 to 26 who are entering the trades and who go through a program where they learn how to do exactly this. And so he had a team of about 8 of them on site, working with him and learning from him. And he bought them pizza one day for lunch. So I think he felt also a part of the process. And again, that's sort of what we're about as well, is making sure that it is personalized and feels good to whomever we're serving, and also to whomever's participating. So yeah, his story is very sweet, and also just shows what something can do when you don't even know what the impacts are going to be. And we have similar stories where it's somebody who it really changed more than they thought. And so it could even be something along the lines of, we've had folks who've installed grab bars for, and it's again been a baby step, where there was a woman who we installed a grab bar near her shower and then near her front door, which she hadn't really noticed she was really feeling unstable at until we were there and talked through some trouble spots. And she sent a card afterwards to say that she realized she hadn't been showering as often as she really wanted to or should be, because she felt very unsafe that it was going to happen. And she said in turn she was having some real problems with a skin condition, and she said it totally changed when she was able to have better hygiene and feel like she could really care for herself in the way she needed to. And it's those little things that actually, as you said, it changes how you feel about yourself. It changes how you feel about your home, and just your stresses that you're dealing with that you don't even really know that you're dealing with. It's huge. I would say another example is for a caretaker, because that's the other thing that happens, is when someone does need support from another person, whether it's a spouse, or whether it's someone who's coming into the home. We've had a few cases recently where the person received some benefits to like a wheelchair or a scooter, and she couldn't actually get the wheelchair around in her house because of it was too big for getting outside or getting to any of her appointments. And so her caretaker was having to physically pick her up, and first of all, very dangerous for all involved. And second of all, the caretaker finally contacted us and said, I can't do this anymore. And it meant she hadn't been to her doctor in almost a year. Mm-hmm. She wasn't able to get her medications. She wasn't able to do, again, things to just keep herself independent and healthy in her home. So a ramp was built for her, which really let the caretaker move her about, not only take her to the doctor, but go to the park, go to the grocery store. Like, again, it's just the ability to just be a person in your life and choose the things you'd like to go do. And so it's such a dramatic difference going from crisis to just living your life and having energy and to be able to deal with some other things too. So yeah, it's about getting out, and it's about people getting in, and about that confidence that you can stay where you want to stay. So yeah, it's a very, every story is a little bit different, and really shows me that it takes all kinds of possibilities to help to support folks. So whether it's a physical modification like we do, or access to a resource, or just knowing about an option that they may have, and luckily we have a lot of partners and good folks we work with, so that we're able to do some referrals to other things too, so that anytime you get a chance to talk to somebody, it's a chance to just let them know what's out there.
Yeah. It just provides a freedom. I mean, it provides so much, but freedom. And the two things that you brought up there, preventing loneliness. So the visitability. So if you can speak on the visitability a bit, just so people understand, just like you mentioned in the story, it's not just about more freedom in the home. You don't even realize that you get lonely. You don't have that community if people can't come to your home. So talk about that briefly.
Well, and that I was just thinking of another story. We have a woman right now who we're working on getting some support for. She has a home she's lived in for 30 years. She's been in the neighborhood forever. Her sister, who's 80 plus, lives just like 4 houses down from her. So she's got this wonderful asset. She lives on a very fixed income and only receives Social Security. And as we know, often women get a quite a low amount that they're living on, and so there's very little extra to do anything. She's fortunate, like a lot of folks who have their homes, is that's their main asset. So anchoring in, but her friends are aging, her sister's aging, she's aging. She has this very gorgeous but difficult front stairway. It just, again, on a hillside, so the stairs are going up, cement stairs to her front door, probably 20 of them, and they're not the same size. It's difficult, and there's no railing, and so she has literally pretty much stopped using it, unless she has definitely people around to help her up and down. And then what she told me when we were talking is that her friends have started to just pull up in their car in the street, roll the window down, or get out and stand against their car while she's up at her doorway. And that's how they're communicating. And it's gotten to the point where she can't even be near somebody, and her sister can't come over anymore because it's just not, and she lives right there. So it's that, like, so close and so little of an effort to kind of change this. So we're really looking at options of how we can do railings that will support her going. It's a challenging situation, but it's not expensive.
Impossible.
Right, and it just takes the kind of support of personal support and puzzling it out to make it work, a personalized approach, because if she were to call a metal worker in a railing, they would build a $10,000 railing along this, and she can't do that. That's not, and that I feel like is the other thing that ReFit and some other groups do, is you make something a little more available or accessible as an option, because a lot of times people just don't know who to turn to. They don't know how to find this resource, or they've asked somebody and they've been given a really impossible answer. And so with this change, it will shift her whole ability to feel, happy and comfortable and social.
Connected.
Yep. And it just continues to remind me that it's crucial. The physical part is so important. And this, that we've got like 11,000 people a day turning 65. So this surge of, they're calling it the silver tsunami, of just kind of really needing to look at these issues. And our homes are all built not to support aging in place. And it wasn't the way they were all constructed, especially in a city like Portland, where just very old homes, and it's difficult. But this is what we need to start talking about, because not only is there the physical part, which is the statistics around falling, and like 1 in 4 people over the age of 65 will have some fall in their home, and it is the thing that can stop you from being there. And that's crazy. Like, that's that feeling of like, wow, if that could just be prevented, you have this chance of staying so much longer. And the options are not great. There's not a lot of accessibility anywhere. So only about, what is it? It's a very small percentage, like 2% of Oregon homes are truly accessible, meaning no step to the front door, main floor bathroom that you can turn around in, like the abilities to really age in place, which 90% of everybody says they want to do, but it's not matching. Those things aren't matching. And so that's sort of where that education piece of also sharing with, I hear a lot of I don't need my grab bar yet. I mean, yeah, that'll be time, and I'm like, well, when is the time? I was like, after you fall? Like, no.
Nobody thinks they're old enough for aging in place. I know I have definitely changed my verbiage in regards to, okay, let's start just rethinking, reimagining the home in midlife, so that we're all, one, building with universal design components, but also just thinking of it as early as possible, because it's not an other person thing. It's all of us at some point. And
it's exciting too, because it's being talked about in that way. There's a lot of new devices, a lot of new ideas, a lot of new creativity. And the grab bars are a good example. Is there's a wide variety of grab bars that don't look like the hospital. It doesn't have to look like your home is now a medical facility. Like, and I don't think people necessarily know that. Like, I now am using a lot of the grab bars that double as a towel bar and that really can hold a person, but also can hold the towel. Like,
And are also pretty and look nice.
yep, and we have they can be soap dishes or toilet paper roll holders. Like there's and all different colors and all different textures. And so I think just the idea that this thought around what it has to look like to have supportive things in your home is really changing, which is cool, because it's something that not only benefits. And it was the other thing when you mentioned just kind of the multi-purpose is the other thing that has happened. We installed a ramp for an older woman that she actually, which is very common, could not get a scooter from her Medicare provider until she had access to the house. And that's sort of a conundrum, and we tend to be a gap filler in that area, is that they may have chance to get a mobility device, but then they're not given support on how to make that next step happen. And so we've stepped in quite a few times when someone has really been stopped at that place. And then once they can get a ramp and access, they're able to get some more services that they really need. So that's a huge piece. A little sad that that's the connection, but it's important that there are ways to fill it. But when she got her ramp, she also found that she had little kids, like little grandchildren, and she found that they were able to, her daughter could push them up the ramp into her home when they were sleeping in their stroller, or they could walk better themselves up the ramp versus the stairs, and it wasn't as scary to the parents or the grandparents. And all of a sudden she could see the benefits. And I said, well, that's universal design. That's exactly, you're seeing it just like, we all hope people will see it, because I think about showers and baths, and it's like, I'm amazed at, who all could benefit from having supportive surfaces in your shower or bath, because it is, little kids are in there all the time, same issues. It's it's just a nice environment. And again, visibility, that's the other piece, is someone's gonna stop coming to your house because they can't get off your toilet, and they're not going to tell you that. They're just going to stop coming, and you won't know why. And I often use that point to have that conversation, because people will do things for others first before they think they need it, or that they'll do it for themselves. So if we talk about aging relatives or neighbors or friends that may feel more comfortable coming over if there's better access, they're often a little more willing to think about it along those lines. So yeah, it is an amazing process, and I agree. Obviously with builders and new construction, it would be fantastic if we could think about it. And I worry because people are told, well, sell your home. A lot of relatives will tell seniors, sell your house, move in, somewhere more manageable. And I mean, I guess I've seen it. I don't know where that is. Like, if there's options, but assisted living starts at 60,000 plus a year. So that is not an option for everybody. And that, again, then you're also moving out of your community, moving out of your social circles, moving out of what you know. So there's a lot to consider. And I think more and more people are realizing that not only is it important to age in place, it's people's only option in a lot of situations. And so we want to, definitely help make that as possible and safe as we can. So
yeah, and that is the key. It's great if we do start to build homes that are universally designed, but as I'm taking as a real estate agent and helping to redesign spaces to be aging in place accessible, it's always looking where they want to be. If they're in their current home, what can we do with this home first? And whether they have money or don't have money, ReFit steps in when we have a low income. Can you stay in your home if that's what they want to do? If not, right now I'm helping a client move from a 2-level to a single level, and we're looking at redesigning, renovating that space. they don't have to before they move in, but at some point soon after. So always looking at the homes through that lens. And again, no matter what age. Last year I helped a first time buyer buy a house. And the main thing, I'm like, this is aging in place accessible already. So when you resell it, when you sell it, it is good for resale value. It's already aging in place accessible. And I feel like, again, the more we talk about this stuff, the more it's just normalized. There's no judgment around it. It's our culture that puts judgment around, oh my God, these special things. But again, it makes living easier for everybody, every ability.
And luckily, I mean, it will be unavoidable because of the sheer numbers of people, and that aging, folks, adults will outnumber everybody else who so it is going to take over, and we know that markets determine that. So in some ways, that sort of surge, it's just I wish it would happen a little more quickly and a little more, because the problem is that it's going to take kind of a crisis of seeing like where we're at. But I'm already seeing it, like with policies and government entities, and like talking about how do we direct funds towards really helping seniors stay safely in their communities, because they're realizing like the cost of homelessness, the cost of institutionalization, the cost of really having people move and shuffle outside of their space is it's not great for our community as a whole. So I think there are a lot of things that are shifting priorities, and what I'm kind of seeing is that's becoming a more important feature of a lot of grants, a lot of funders, and that's a good sign, because it does mean that our energy and our resources are going to head in that direction. And when ReFit started, I mean, we talked about 27 years ago, there was not a lot of organizations that were doing this work. There was local church groups and friends and family and kind of that community support. But now there are 7 or 8 organizations in the Portland metro area that are doing home modifications and home repairs, and that are really supporting that. So that also has come a long way. But again, the need far outpaces what we're able to keep up with. But that's a step. And like you said, putting all those pieces together of knowing who does what and knowing where those resources are. I want that to be on us, in the sense of you don't need the homeowner to be worrying about how to figure all that out. So the more resources we can all share with each other, the better, and kind of help fill the gaps that they're needing filled with the resources that we know are out there, but that are just hard to access sometimes.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to, what is the process? If somebody knows somebody who wants to apply to get services, what is the process for ReFit to actually get services?
Yeah, and it's pretty straightforward. We've kept it kind of pen and paper. We do have the online option in works, but you can definitely either download an application from our website, which is refitportland.org. And it's a 3 or 4 page application that just gives us the information we need to kind of get things in motion. Also, you can just call and I can mail you an application. And so it's often a friend or a neighbor or a family member, caretaker who's either initiating that process or helping with the process, and then we're available to help answer any questions about it over the phone. And then that's the first step, and then we check in and come out and do a home assessment, because that's always where we get the best information and kind of learn what the situation is. And we are a nonprofit that works with a board and committees. And so we have a project committee that's made up of contractors and remodelers who donate their time to do this work. So we have professionals that come out with me to look at the situation and assess kind of what it would take. And the process sometimes is quick. If it's grab bars or something that we're able to jump in and do, it can be 2 to 3 weeks. And sometimes it takes a lot longer if it's a larger project that we're looking for volunteers and resources and materials for. But the important part of me is I just try to stay in touch with folks and let them know other resources, other lists to get on, or other people to talk to, and then just continue to keep them posted on the process. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And our only qualifications right now, we just work with homeowners. You can be living in a family member's home too, though, and that's an option. And then also it's 80% average median income, which right now for a one-person household is about $67,000. And we're flexible with that because we also know there's a lot of costs and things in life that don't always make a $6,000 ramp possible just because you have a certain income. So again, it's very personalized. It really depends on the situation, but that's our main qualifications, and the goal is that it's something about access to your home, like that you can't currently do safely. And so that's really our specialty. So yeah.
And remember too, for everybody listening, even if you need a resource, it's such a friendly call, reach out, resources. If ReFit and Lupine can't help, there's somebody out there that can. So just asking, it never hurts to ask. There's so many resources, so just reach out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're trying to get that, current and updated on our website, but it's a phone call because it's so dynamic. And as we were talking about funding and organizations, and it is hard to track even when you're in the business of doing it. So I do just suggest people call, like once they have contact with us. Yeah, absolutely. Just reach out and we'll do our best to find something that'll fit.
Oh, fantastic. Share the website again. And of course, I'll link everything up, but share at least the website and anything else you want.
Sure. Now it's refitportland.org. And yeah, it's, I think, the chance to go on and either look at what we do, read some stories. We have a wonderful video that summarizes our work. And
That video is amazing.
it is. We're very lucky for the filmmaker. And then, yeah, and we rely on donations, both of financially, but also in kind of labor, materials, partnerships, any kind of, if you're interested in supporting it, that's how we're run. I'm the only paid employee, and I work with about 20 core volunteers to make this organization work. So it definitely is a community driven, and if anyone wants to participate on that end, they're more than welcome. And then also, yeah, refer anybody that may need the services. So yeah, I appreciate being able to talk about it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. It's an amazing service, and it will only be needed more in the weeks, months, years to come. So thank you for all you do.
Sure. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks for tuning in to the Age Well Home and Lifestyle podcast. If this episode sparks something in you, share it with a friend or family member. Let it be the start of a real-life, meaningful conversation, because that's how we grow together. And I'd love to hear from you. What topics are you curious about? What questions are on your mind? Reach out and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay curious, live true, and keep creating a life and home that's aligned with your truest self.